What is up, everybody? This is Anthony with the VR Game Rankings YouTube channel, and of course, today is Saturday. It is October 6th. It is about 12:02 p.m. I always think a.m. I don't know, for some reason when it's noon, I think it's a.m., but no, it's p.m. Noon is the beginning of p.m., and I believe we are live, and Chebby is first in the door. Chebby, what is going on? And yeah, today's Saturday. I don't have a whole lot of news stories for you guys today, but we do have some different things we can talk about. We do have some different things that we can get into. And right now on the screen, we are seeing Titan Arena, which is coming, I believe, from Lightbound Studios. And Titan Arena is coming sometime in early 2019. So we're definitely looking forward to that one. There's a lot of games that are out there on the horizon that we have some interest in, because think about it, in the remaining year of 2018, we don't really have like a massive game that is coming out this year. Can you guys think of anything? Can you think of like what is the biggest game that is coming out in the remainder of 2018? Space Junkies? Is Space Junkies the biggest game that hasn't come out yet, that's coming this year for sure? Maybe Echo Combat? Jim Hall says Half-Life 3. Yeah, I mean, obviously the day Half-Life 3 comes out, it's the biggest game of the year for that entire year, regardless of whatever else happens. I don't know. I mean, there must be some alternate universe where Half-Life 3 is actually an existing thing, but I don't think we're in that particular universe. I don't think we've collided with that universe yet. I don't think we've slipped into that universe yet. So I don't know that we're going to see Half-Life 3 anytime soon. But Defector for the Oculus Rift, that was supposed to be the biggest game that we had coming later this year. And Defector is a 2019 game. And the Rex Terra says Red Dead Pancake version. I mean, Red Dead, if there is a pancake game, if a pancake game exists that would tempt me to go back to the world of pancakes, and I had pancakes this morning. I had Mimi's Cafe, guys. I had some Mimi's Cafe pancakes earlier today, speaking of pancakes, but the only pancake game that can maybe draw me back in would be the new Red Dead Redemption. I probably will rent it just to check it out and kind of flirt with pancakes for a day. But I'm a VR gamer, man. I talked about this before. Actually, somebody left a message about this, or this was maybe a comment that was left in one of the videos. It might have been like Jay Pace or somebody, because we have a couple of people that watch our show that they're still really into flat gaming. They play VR games, but they still play flat. And for me, it's like I've had a black and white TV for 20 years. I just got a color TV. Why am I going to play black and white? I mean, I don't really get it. Now, what I do get, though, is if your favorite franchises are still in black and white and they don't have a color version yet, and you want to see your favorite franchises, I understand Pancake. But once you've been exposed to being inside, literally inside a video game world, and having it completely envelop you, going back to that external little two-dimensional window, it's a hard sell for me. I can do it for brief periods of time, but then I start to feel like something's missing. The last time I really tried to do this in earnest was Horizon Zero Dawn for PlayStation 4. Horizon Zero Dawn, when that first came out. I've never checked out Spider-Man. I've never checked out God of War. And, you know, I haven't checked out Red Dead Redemption, obviously. Fallout 76, another pancake game that might actually tempt me, but I just can't do it. I don't know. I just can't do it. I mean, maybe, am I a VR snob? You know, am I a 360 snob? What is it? Fluke Rogi says, yep, I still play flat games more than VR games. Oh my God. Let's string him up, folks. Let's string him up. Said it earlier on F Reality, most VR games are lacking depth and longevity. True, but it's like, see that door right there? I can open that door and I can walk into my backyard. I can walk into my backyard. Now, do I want to play a video game that's just on a small portion of that wall and I'm seeing it from over here and I'm playing the game? Or do I want to open the goddamn door and go inside the world? And I want to go inside the world. And yeah, Fluke, I get what you're saying. A lot of the VR games that we have right now, it's kind of amateur hour on a lot of these games. But the polish of Astrobot, boy, the polish of Astrobot is crazy. And Chevy says, I'm with Anthony. I can't go back. He's been exposed to color television and he doesn't want to go back to black and white. And I completely understand that. I have a hard time going back to black and white. Thanks for suggesting Karnage. This is Christopher Davis. I almost completely missed that one, and it is great. Dude, Karnage Chronicles is outstanding. And you know what? One of the devs at Nordic Trolls somebody must have told him about one of the videos where I was ranting and raving about Karnage Chronicles for about 5 minutes. And the dev saw it, and he tweeted out to me, and he said that he really appreciated the comments. And dude, they're just real comments. Karnage Chronicles is a damn fine game. They really did a great job with that game, no question about it. Fluke Rogi says, for me, it would be like not reading a book because I could watch the film instead. I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying, but I don't know. I don't read much books since movies have come out. I'll be honest. I don't read hardly any book. I mean, well, movies have always been out since I've been alive. It wasn't like I was alive in the 1800s and I read by candlelight, and then all of a sudden Blu-rays started coming out, and it's like, man, I can't go back to candlelight. I've been exposed to Blu-rays. I've had movies and books all my life. If a movie is done right, I think it's better than a book, but a lot of times, see, the reason why books are so good is you're using your imagination. But you're not using your imagination when you're playing a pancake game. You're just playing a pancake game. You're making the trade-off that you would rather have a better world, a more polished world, a more dialed-in video game experience on a flat, two-dimensional window that you're looking at, rather than opening up the door and stepping into a world that may be highly unpolished, janktacular in many ways, lots of issues, a lot of little sketchiness. It's a trade-off. It's a trade-off, but I am all about the VR. I just don't have any interest in flat. So that's kind of amazing that we wasted all that time on that little discussion. Wasn't planning that. Who knew that that was going to happen? Okay, so we do have some different information that is going on. First of all, let's go ahead and take a quick look at a Zero Kill trailer again real quick. Let's check this out. This game is available right now. 15 bucks.
Let's make this quick. Go in, plant the hacking device, get the data, and leave us up. Ready?
Ready.
Ready. In position. Tagging. On your mark. Ox, blow that shit up. I thought you'd never ask. Covering the entrance, Edward.
So very exciting. Oh my God. So no, we've seen this trailer before. We know about Zero Killed, but the reason this is in the news is because this is actually available. It's actually available for 15 bucks. And something was going on kind of weird with this game, because we heard it was coming out on October 3rd for quite some time. And then somebody said, oh no, it got delayed until November. And on October 3rd, it wasn't there. And so we kind of wondered what's going on with Zero Killed. And so I just assumed, oh, this is probably delayed till November. So no need to worry about Zero Killed for a little while. But this game actually came out yesterday. It is currently available. Here is the Steam page right here. Zero Killed by IGN IBIT Ignibit, I guess. And the price is 15 bones for Zero Killed. So not very expensive. It is in early access. I believe that, you know, they're kind of like still developing this game, but they're going to let it out there. Now, I did get into like this little beta for this game. I was into this little private beta for it real quick. But when I went in there, there was nobody there. It was empty. And so all I was doing was I got to explore. I got to walk around one of these maps, and I had my machine guns, and I was firing the machine guns. And the graphics look really good. Your gun looks really good. The sound is really good. That wall looks really fine. I mean, that wall looks really nice there. I love the textures on those walls if they really look like that. But I was running around one of these levels. It looked good. It sounded good. But I didn't actually get to play the full game. But this is 15 bucks. It's available now. There's only 6 user reviews. And you got to figure many of those are probably from the dev and the dev's closest homies. But a few of these reviews say not recommended, needs a lot of work. And then one guy says majority of the problems stem from the gunplay. So anyway, I have not checked this game out. I don't plan on checking this game out, but I'm curious. This was one of the games we were kind of interested in, and everybody in PC VR land, like if you have an Oculus Rift, if you have an HTC Vive, if you don't have a PlayStation VR, you might have been a little bit jealous for Firewall 0 Hour. And the thought was that this might be able to give us like a Firewall 0 Hour kind of a feel for some of these gamers. And I just don't know that it's quite that great, but we'll have to see. Maybe more reviews. We don't really have a ton of reviews on this game. We don't really know too much about it. But that is Zero Killed. So I just wanted to mention that that was actually available right now. Kind of a stealth release. Okay, another thing I wanted to get into is let's take a look at this trailer for Derail Valley. I think we may have seen this trailer before, but this is in the news a little bit. Let's check out this trailer. This does look pretty freaking cool. So yeah, basically the real news with Derail Valley is we don't have like an actual concrete release date or anything really specific, but basically the developer has came out and said, you know, this is still on track for a release this year. So this is coming in 2018. Who knows? Maybe Derail Valley is the biggest game left in 2018, but supposedly this will be coming maybe November or December to Steam. Derail Valley, the developer is Alt Future, and Fluke Rogi says, Derail Valley is another ETS2 for me. Shouldn't interest me, but damn, I love the demo. Yeah, there is a demo available for this, which I have not tried. I have not tried this demo, but I know that this was in the news a little bit. And Bullet Ape says he bought another train game back a little while ago. He sat in the train and then thought, what the F am I doing? And he refunded it. Yeah, I mean, this is one of these kinds of games where you really have to just get into the game and you just have to kind of buy into the whole idea and the concept. And if you're somebody that is addicted to fast action and big explosions going on all the time, probably not your kind of thing, you know. I think it looks pretty cool. I like the graphical look of it. It reminds me of like Lake Tahoe, California, like certain areas in California I've seen, you know. I just kind of like the visuals of this. And apparently you can get out, you can get outside the train and just start climbing the mountainsides if you want, although I'm sure that would get very boring very quickly. But I don't know. It looks pretty cool. I don't know if we don't have like an estimation of the price of that. But yeah, that is Derail Valley. So it looks kind of interesting. I'm certainly curious about it a little bit later this year. Let's see what's going on in chat. Fluke says VR does have the weird effect of making me liking genres that wouldn't otherwise have interested me. Well, you know what, Fluke? This is analogous to when HD TV first came out. Do you guys remember when you first got an HD TV? And when you first got an HD TV, you would watch a video of butterflies. You would watch a video of a little lizard running around on a rock. You would watch videos of just the boringest crap in the world, but it was in high definition and it looked amazing and you couldn't believe what you were seeing. And that's kind of the way it is with VR right now. We're so pleased with the fact that we're stepping inside these video game worlds that we're willing to try genres that are out of our normal wheelhouse, because we just want to see what VR can offer all these different things. Like Brass Tactics for me is a game I never would have played, but because it's in VR, because it has this unique design and what VR brings to the table, you want to try it out. You want to give it a chance, and found out that Brass Tactics was one of my favorite games of 2018, easily. And so I don't know if Derail Valley will be that kind of game for me, but certainly interesting nonetheless. Okay, let's go ahead and check out this HaptX glove thing. Okay, HaptX, they have apparently launched a development kit for their new gloves. Let's go ahead and check this video out. So that is HaptX. Do you want to hook up a couple of fire hoses to your arms? See those giant ass wires, man. Look at those big ass wires that are connected to that thing. Dude, those wires, well, it's like a collection of all kinds of wires that's like wrapped in a cloth. And that is thicker than the monster cable speaker wire I used to have on those big ass speakers back there. I used to have this monster cable speaker wire that was as thick as a freaking outdoor hose that you would use to water your front yard. I mean, that's how thick it was. And look at those giant things that are on these people's hands. I mean, just a giant contraption, right? But here's the deal. We've got to start somewhere. We've got to start somewhere. So much love, in my opinion, much love to all the people at HaptX. You got to start somewhere, right? We got to start somewhere. And the people that have tried this and the people that have messed around with this say that it is a major game changer, that you really do feel these different sensations. You feel the raindrops coming down on your hand. You can feel fine grains. You feel the weight of things and grabbing things and clicking things. I mean, that would be super cool. And certainly not going to be ready for prime time. Like, this is something that's going to have to stay in the labs and only be used for very specific industries where this is really mission critical. This is not a consumer product anytime in the near future, in my opinion, but we've got to start somewhere. So absolutely keep banging away at this thing. I want to be able to touch things. I want to be able to feel things. You want to be able to squeeze things. I mean, you want to be able to play a baseball game and feel like you're truly gripping a baseball, or you want to play a football game and feel like you're really gripping a football, and that when you throw the football, it feels like the weight of the football is leaving your hands. You want to be able to grab things, touch things. This is something we're eventually going to need to have, right? If we ever want to get to the Ready Player One future, eventually this is going to have to happen, and you have to start somewhere. And honestly, these things are not as gigantic as you might think. I mean, they've done pretty well with this. So, you know, I'm not necessarily disappointed with this. We're just going to have to continue forward with it, right? And Upload VR does have a story on this over here. HaptX unveils their haptic gloves so you can feel things in VR. That is Dean Takahashi right there of VentureBeat. And basically, here's Dean Takahashi right here. And he's looking at a spider in his hand, and apparently that's one of the demos they have as well, where they have a spider that is crawling across your hand. And these gloves each feature 130 tactile actuators, or little pressure sensitive motors. So super interesting, super cool. HaptX has 35 employees. They've got offices in Seattle and San Luis Obispo in California. And the HaptX glove development kit is now available worldwide. It made its debut on October 3rd. So it's out there if people want to get their hands on it and start working on this stuff. I mean, obviously, we're going to have to shrink these things down again and again and again. And it's probably, realistically, this could be maybe 15 years away, I think, from your average Joe Blows getting their hands on this in terms of a regular kind of a thing. We could be 15 years away. This is a long-term deal. But for certain industries, for training, like that's what they're showing here, for training, this is going to be a valuable commodity for a lot of industries. They'll pay several $1,000s or whatever it is to get these gloves, because they can train people in situations that is kind of priceless in terms of giving them the visuals and the actual feel of being in different critical scenarios, nuclear reactors, you know, whatever, anything that's mission critical. They can train them much cheaper than putting them into the real environment. So yeah, pretty interesting there for HaptX. Definitely looking forward to that at some point in the future. Let's see here. Let's go ahead and see what chat is talking about. The Wi-Fi bandwidth we are going to need for VR will be tremendous. All these wires need to go away. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I'm one of the biggest advocates of get rid of the wires. And so when I see this and you see the largest wires we've ever seen, it seems like a real backward step. But I know at some point in time, we're going to have to figure out the touch thing. We're going to have to add the touch component. And it's going to have to be accurate. It's going to have to feel good. It's going to have to feel, it's going to have to be worth the effort here. Those raindrops are going to have to feel like raindrops. You know, all of these things are, if you're petting a cat, it's going to have to feel like you're petting a cat. And it's going to take a long way to get there, but we got to start somewhere. So certainly good that they're doing it. Let's go ahead and bounce over. I'm going to throw on an In Death trailer. So I played a little bit of In Death last night, and I did grab the crossbow. So I apparently do have the update. I still have not seen any unusual enemies, and I don't know if I have to go to the pits to see some kind of unusual enemies, and I haven't seen some of these backdrops that we're seeing here. I've just seen kind of the normal stuff that I've always seen, but I did play with the crossbow extensively yesterday, and you'll see in the video constantly going like this. That's basically all you're doing. How fast can you do this? Because as fast as you can do this, that's straight up an automatic weapon. It's basically a machine gun of arrows if you can keep loading that thing up as fast as possible and get it loaded up. And then it's a matter of figuring out the trajectile that your arrows are traveling and line it up. But it's kind of like It's kind of a gun in death, and you can get a lot of headshots with this thing. Like, I got way more headshots than I ever got. The other thing, too, I'll mention, do you guys remember how I told you when I went into In Death, I guess it was on October 2nd, and I ended up ranked like 256 or something like that? Well, I went back in there last night, and after playing a pretty long game of this, surviving for a very long time with my crossbow, I ended up ranked like 890 something. So it's a big change because that first day, they must have like redone all the leaderboards, you know, just wiped them clean, started them over from scratch, and I was able to rank relatively high. But going back to In Death, just last night, didn't rank very well. What do I think about the crossbow? Ultimately, the crossbow is cool. The crossbow is pretty freaking convenient. It works well. You are constantly going like this, so whatever muscles it requires to do this is going to get built up abnormally if you're playing In Death constantly, because you will constantly be loading. You just want to constantly load it and shoot and load it and shoot, and it's basically a machine gun. I guess if there's one negative, in my opinion, with this crossbow is I wonder if it almost makes the game almost too easy, you know. And then I kind of like the bow. I kind of like the idea of the bow. So what I'm probably going to do, I'm probably going to go back and forth. I'm basically probably going to bounce back and forth between the regular bow and the crossbow, and it's going to take me a little bit longer to figure out what I want to do there. But I really want to see all these new enemies, and I haven't seen them yet. And I guess I have to go into the pit or something, or is there some special area I got to go to see the new enemies? And I haven't seen some of these exteriors either. I guess I just need to keep playing, you know, keep going back in and keep playing it. But I mostly see the same Brookhaven zombies, the Crusader guys, the hooded bowman guys. I very rarely see some of these other enemies, like the ladies with the staff. I haven't seen them. I haven't seen these flying enemies. So I don't know, like I haven't seen these guys at all. I'd love to see those guys. Those guys look super cool. So I don't know when I'll see all of those enemies. But yeah, that is In Death. Still a great game. Still a gamer's game. Very solid game, no question about it. Now, the price went up, though. So you guys that didn't buy In Death when you could have bought In Death, maybe a big mistake right there. I got an interesting picture to throw on the screen, guys. That is mamefan. That is a picture that he sent to me from his Mario Kart session yesterday. mamefan did get some Mario Kart action, and he told me that it was really cool, but it wasn't like the greatest thing ever since sliced bread. He did think it was cool. It was very fun, but mamefan wasn't completely blown away by it. And mamefan, dude, you got to stop smiling, mamefan. You're smiling too much. You look too happy. That's not a good situation. Okay, let's see. What else can I throw on here? You know, another individual picture I can throw on the screen. This is our boy, Alvin Wang Graylin, and I believe he is basically the head of HTC Vive China. He's also the next James Bond. No, but this guy is probably the most debonair guy in all of VR gaming in terms of executives out there. But why am I talking? Why do I care about HTC Vive? Well, they're kind of in the news. HTC, the company, is in the news. And let me see if I can find the story. And then, yeah, I found the story here. So I am going to switch to this web browser. And at the very bottom of the HTC Vive subreddit, it says HTC reaches new low as September revenue declines over 80%. So things are going very badly for HTC in general as a company. Things are going really, really bad for this company. And there basically is a lot of question out there. What is going to happen to HTC? Are they going to die? And what is going to happen to the Vive? And if you hop into this thread and you read a lot of this thread, you get a couple different opinions about whether HTC is going to serve, well, whether the HTC Vive unit is going to survive as an entity or whether they will have to be acquired by somebody else. And there's two different stories here, because some people are saying that HTC made a special shell company for all of their VR stuff that would be protected if the regular parent company of HTC completely dies out. But then other people are saying no, they did that, but then they switch back. And also, if HTC goes bankrupt, that their creditors can go after this shell company that will own the HTC Vive and all of the HTC Vive stuff. So it's kind of unknown what is going to happen here with HTC. And I don't know, I've always kind of thought that maybe the best thing that could ever happen for the Vive in general is for HTC to ultimately die out. And that is a harsh statement to say. I'm sure anybody working at HTC Vive right now, if they were watching this and they're like, damn, this guy wants our company to freaking die. He can go ahead and die in a boat fire himself. That is really harsh. But I'm just trying to be really honest here, because honestly, if HTC were to die out, and all of their assets would have to be sold off to another company, this other company that would grab the Vive brand and everything, they couldn't be worse, right? They could not be worse. How could they be worse than HTC in terms of like customer support and all of those kinds of things? So honestly, this could be maybe the best scenario of all. Google could possibly acquire HTC. Samsung could possibly acquire HTC. All kinds of different companies could potentially acquire the Vive, really. I'm talking about the Vive, not HTC. Nobody would really care about HTC, but like their VR business, there's a lot of other companies that potentially could acquire everything that they have right now, and they would step right in. The customer service support would improve by leaps and bounds, and I don't think anything could really be worse. Terry Blanchard says Nintendo could acquire HTC. It wouldn't necessarily be the worst idea. Xbox, Microsoft, I mean, there's a lot of different companies that could potentially consider this. But, you know, that's kind of my thought there. So I don't know that it's necessarily the worst case scenario. I feel bad for all the HTC Vive employees that are in Seattle, that are in the USA, that are all around the world, that really do care, and they're trying to make this a great company, and they know that their customer service is pretty bad. They have to know. They read Reddit. They know what's going on here, and maybe they're kind of powerless within the company to make change happen there. We can throw on our other HTC guy. I think I got a Danny O'Brien little header too. Let's see if I can find that one. We might as well get off of, let's get off of 007 and let's give equal opportunity. Yeah, equal opportunity to our boy Danny O'Brien here. So a little bit of equal opportunity. We can fade in on Danny. But yeah, I mean, I know Danny O'Dwyer, this guy cares. He cares about the customer service, and he wants the customer service to be better. But obviously, somewhere inside this company, they have just failed as a company. Their customer service is just some of the worst I've ever encountered in my entire life. And I've had first-person experiences with their customer service several different times, and just nightmares like you wouldn't believe. And I had to basically become the ultimate asshole customer to finally get a 3-in-1 cable back from these guys. It was really a true nightmare. And so I don't know, maybe their death wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. Maybe it wouldn't be the worst thing. Chevy says, I agree, Anthony. They are falling way behind, and a new company would give them a shot of adrenaline. Oh my goodness. Imagine if Google acquired HTC. Imagine that. And Tom Lloyd says, I just hope Facebook and Rift go away. I loved the Rift until Facebook bought them. Yeah, I mean, you know, I don't know what to say about Facebook and the Rift, because the truth is, I mean, you could have that kind of view, but they have accelerated where VR is, and they continue to accelerate where VR is. The one thing that you can say for Facebook above all is they are throwing a shit ton of money at this problem. And you could absolutely hate them as a company and just wish they left planet Earth as a company. But they've just done so much to advance VR purely based on hiring some of the best people out there and just spending a shit ton of money. The Oculus Quest is a beautiful product. So Tom Lloyd, you're not going to get an Oculus Quest. You're going to deny yourself the beauty of an Oculus Quest. Bullet Ape says Nintendo would just change the deluxe head strap to a red cap and stick a big red N on the front. Nintendo, I super doubtful that Nintendo would pick up something like HTC. I think Samsung makes a lot of sense. I think LG could make some sense. Google makes sense. Even Microsoft makes a lot more sense, I think, than Nintendo. I just don't think Nintendo's going to go down this road. Facebook and Sony are the only ones that are pushing the VR market. This is Andy Sky. Well, Facebook is really throwing a lot of money at this problem. And I understand people that just cannot stand Facebook. There's a lot of people out there that can't stand them, and they probably have some good reasons not to. If I paid more attention to it, maybe I wouldn't be able to stand them either for some of the stuff that's going on in the background. I don't get involved with a lot of the political stuff that is going on. I'll be honest about that. And so for me, I just want the best VR, and no matter where it's coming from. If Comcast created the best VR headset ever and had the best collection of VR games and was spending millions and millions of dollars to push VR forward, I guess I'd be a fan of Comcast. That's kind of, I want to have VR improve as quickly as possible, and Facebook is a big reason for it, man. They're throwing more money at it than anybody else. So I don't know what to say there. But yeah, HTC Vive, basically we're talking about HTC Vive. Will they survive? How long will they survive? Who will pick them up? What's going to happen here? And the truth is, we don't really know what's going to happen, but we're going to keep our eyes on that anyways. All right, let's see. I'm just going to throw on a random trailer here, and let's see what else is going on in the news. Did I have any other trailers I needed to get to, or any other things I needed to get to as far as stories here? Oh, you know what? I definitely want to throw this trailer on. Okay, so this is Arca's Path, which is kind of interesting. That is going to be coming, I believe, on December 4th. And some of the people that are behind this game are pretty good industry veterans. In fact, I think one of the main guys that is behind Arca's Path was actually one of the main guys at Sony's London studio that did the London heist for PlayStation VR Worlds. And he left that studio and started Dream Reality Interactive, which I believe, yeah, this guy right here, Dave Ranyard, that guy right there, he worked for Sony London Studio, and he was one of the main guys working on London Heist for PlayStation VR Worlds. That guy right there, he decided to start up his own deal, and this is like their first game. This is Arca's Path. It's coming on December 4th. I'm still kind of interested in that. But I have a different video that I wanted to throw on here. Something that I saw that looked really quite interesting. And so you guys remember Jet Island. Jet Island, it's only 20 bucks. Check out this mixed reality video that this guy did. This gives you an example of the incredible scale that is going on in Jet Island and just how gigantic everything seems, and like this gigantic play park that you're experiencing. He kind of did this mixed reality video for Jet Island, which I thought is pretty cool. Let's go ahead and check this out for a second. Let's listen in on this. So yeah, this is a Jet Island mixed reality video, and obviously they're not capturing it perfectly. They're kind of like jerry rigging it together to kind of give you a little bit of an idea. But it does give you an idea of the scale and just how huge everything is. And for me, when I was playing Jet Island, really, Jet Island for me is almost like meditation. It's like, you know how they have these like meditation things that you can do in VR where you just sit in a forest or you sit on a beach and it's like some like guided meditation thing? Well, Jet Island for me is like a meditation game because it's basically a just chill out game. You're chilling out, in my opinion, on your little hoverboard thing with your jet wrists, and you're just exploring this surreal alien world, just cruising around. You're using your jet wrists, you're using your little Spider-Man webs, and you're just kind of chilling out. Like, that is the way that I've played Jet Island every time I've played it. And it's one of these things, has anybody else noticed this? That sometimes you'll have the deepest thoughts that you ever have had while you're in VR. Is this just me? But sometimes when you're in VR, I don't know, you'll just start thinking about stuff. You're chilling. It's like you're in this other place and you can really think about things. And Jet Island is the perfect kind of game for that, where I would just kind of zone out and just kind of cruise the sides of these mountains and just kind of go up the sides. What I mostly did here, I was going up the sides of these mountains, jumping way up in the air, coming back down, and just kind of exploring this entire island and just kind of floating around, flying around, chilling out. It has really nice music in the background. I Am Rhett says, if you buy Jet Island, make sure you and any friends are on the same platform. I have it for Oculus Store, friend has it on Steam, and we couldn't see each other in games. Ended up buying a second copy on Steam. Ah, that's a good point, I Am Ruts. That does kind of suck when we're on different platforms and we can't see each other in multiplayer. That is kind of lame. But I've never even seen this part of the game. Like, I haven't gotten to where this area is. Of course, I've barely touched the game. I'd love to go back into it. I should go back into it. And actually watching this video, I probably will go back into it a little bit later today. But yeah, that's a Jet Island mixed reality video. Chevy says, me too, Anthony. VR isolates me enough that I can spend some time thinking. Yeah, that VR is a really good isolation chamber. And I really feel like you can really think some deep thoughts while you're in VR. It's kind of weird like that. I Am Rhett says, barely scratching the surface. Barely scratching the surface. Yeah, you want to talk about scratching the surface. I mean, we're talking scratch and sniff is what I did with Jet Island, because I've barely touched it. Had fun while I was in it. Zoned out while I was in it. Chilled out to the background music while I was in it. I wasn't really even interested in like doing bosses or anything. I was more interested in just chilling out and relaxing. To me, it's all about relaxation as far as Jet Island. But that's my thoughts on that. But anyway, let's see. That was probably the last trailer I did want to get into in terms of stuff that I had prepared prior to the show. But what I could do right now is we could take a quick look at, say, Upload VR, see if there's any latest news stories real fast. I don't think there's anything else really popping off right now, though. Yeah, not really seeing anything. Let me check PSVR subreddit. This music is like really relaxing. I don't know if this is some of the music that's actually in the game. But I could zone out to this music. But yeah, there's not much else going on. Let me go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and switch this trailer, though, because this is going to put us all to sleep if we don't hurry up and get off here. This will absolutely put us to sleep. How about something really crazy like Accounting Plus?
From the designer of the...
Still waiting for the date on Accounting Plus very soon. But yeah, man, there's not much else popping off. Let's see what's going on over here in chat. Andy Sky says Chinese products supposed to be cheap. I guess there's a lot of talk here about the Vive. The Vive is technically Taiwanese, right? Scion VR says, I have had dreams about being in Echo Arena. And at Andy Sky, Jim Hall says, most products are China anyway. The Rex Terra says, Pimax doesn't have the ability to subsidize the price for the headset. They can't lock it inside their own ecosystem, so it's going to be expensive. And Tom Lloyd says, Rift and HTC getting killed by PSVR, and now I hear Xbox VR is happening. I doubt it. I don't think we're going to see Xbox VR anytime soon. And Rift is not getting killed, I don't believe. I mean, I don't know how well Rift is selling, but Facebook is going to continue to attack that problem. You're not going to get rid of Facebook too easily. But anyway, guys, there just isn't too much going on. I mean, I could possibly check out some of these subreddits real quick, but I think we've pretty much gone through what we have to get into today. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and call this show. One thing I do need to mention, everybody, tomorrow at 9 a.m., I believe 9 a.m. Pacific, VR Roundtable, we're going to have a live show tomorrow at 9 a.m. Pacific, and Epyx is going to be on the show. Steve is not going to be able to make the episode, and so Epyx is going to step in. And so Gary, Chris, myself, and Epyx, as far as I know, we're all going to be there at 9 a.m. Pacific time, right around, roughly around 9 a.m., maybe 9:10 a.m. or so Pacific time. So make sure bounce over to the VR Roundtable YouTube channel at that time. And then, of course, Sunday Fun Day, the show always begins about 10 minutes after the VR Roundtable show. So we'll go ahead and have a show on Sunday. I know this one ended kind of somberly with not much excitement, not much going on, and sometimes that is going to happen. So let me go ahead and grab my outro and get the heck out of Dodge. So yeah, basically that will do it, folks. Make sure to check out the website if you get an opportunity. And of course, subscribe to the channel, like the videos, all that good stuff. And I will see you guys next time. Take it easy. Later.